Hi, I'm Patty.
I'm Kim Michelle.
And I'm Jill. Welcome to our podcast. It's a great day to talk.
Because honestly, what day isn't a great day to talk?
So join us in our conversation.
A Great Day to Talk is brought to you by St. George Design, offering complete website design, social media management, search engine optimization, Google and Facebook ad management, and many other digital and print marketing services. stgeorgedesign.com. And by Richardson Brothers Custom Homes, third-generation builders who have been building custom homes in southern Utah for over 25 years. They will take your dream home from concept to completion. Contact richardsonbrothers.com.
Hello out there in podcast land.
Hello.
And welcome to A Great Day to Talk. I'm Kim Michelle and welcome you to our podcast tonight. This is my great friend, Jill.
Hello, my name is Jill. I am Kim Michelle's great friend.
Yes, that is true. And usually we have our other great friend, Patty.
Sassy redhead.
Who is here with us as well. But she is not here tonight. She is finishing her escapades in Alaska,
Yes.
which looks like it was fabulous.
Can you believe those pictures?
Amazing, right?
Here's what I want to see. So they have the pictures of the salmon running upstream, jumping, right? You saw that. I want to see Patty and Riley standing there, not using a net, but catching it like the bears do.
I'm sure they did that. So I just don't think Patty has shared those pictures yet, but I'm sure they did that exact thing.
I'm going to ask for those, and I think those need to be like blown up and enlarged.
Yeah.
'Cause I
So
wanna see
we'll
facial
post those all
expressions.
over our website.
Right. I want
Yeah.
to see the facial expressions.
Yeah,
Can you
all of our
imagine the
Facebook
facial
page.
expressions?
Of course.
That would be.
Do you mean on the face of the salmon or on the face of Riley and Patty?
Oh my gosh, look at that redhead.
Look at that cute
I have no
redhead.
time to turn.
Yeah,
Ah.
they're so adorable. So anyway, we wish them happy travels, and just anytime you come back from a vacation, it feels like you need a vacation from your vacation.
Exactly.
And I know they were up and very early so that they could get the jump on the fish.
That we're jumping.
Yes, all that kind of good stuff. And I know that they were very physically active and all of that kind of good stuff. So
that shall not be my
anyway,
type of vacation.
we can't wait to hear all about it, which I'm sure we will on our next podcast. But for today, we just wish them a happy and restful return home. And so we're going to go ahead, and Jill and I are going to just carry the load here because that's what we do, girlfriend.
That's what we do because we are talkers and we don't need an excuse to talk. We can always figure out all the talking.
Yeah, we've never really, either one of us had a problem with that.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So welcome to the month of August for most of us. Is it a secret?
It is because I don't want to acknowledge that we are August 4th because in a mere week and some change, we start school.
Yeah.
Actually, teachers start on
Friday.
Yeah.
And some of us have already been in meetings
For 3 days.
for 3 days. So, and my dear husband thinks that school must have started for him
Right.
3 weeks ago because he's been in my classroom every day without air conditioning, which has been, it's like
nightmare.
114 degrees here. I mean, it's so hot.
Right.
And bless his heart, he's been in there every day, sweating up a storm, helping me get my room ready.
Right.
So
I think all spouses of teachers and all children of teachers learn that part of their ownership of family is that they get to come and help us in our classrooms.
yeah.
Yep, that's what we get to do. We get to blow up the exercise balls for my classroom this weekend.
Oh,
Yay.
because in Jill's room, they don't sit on a
No
regular
chairs.
chair.
No chairs, no desks. We sit on exercise balls because they are fantastic and they are engaging for the core and they are engaging for the brain.
And so, Jill, if I am a student in your classroom,
Yes, Michelle.
because I tend to wear dresses, it's my preferred
Mode of
item
transportation.
of or item of clothing, whichever you want to call it. But I think I might feel uncomfortable in a dress on sitting on one of those balls. So would I have an option?
Actually, I have a few chairs. I save those mostly for students that have physical ailments and
Like
back
the
issues.
ability to only wear a dress?
The ability to only wear a dress.
Right.
Actually, it's really interesting because my girls don't have problems with dresses unless, of course, they are way too short, which doesn't happen to be a very often issue.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the girls do what the girls do. They
Yeah.
are fine. Yep. And they
make it work.
make it work because that's what women do.
Mm-hmm.
We women in the workplace, that's what we do.
Make it work. Well, that's pretty awesome. And that's just the beginning of how innovative Jill's classroom is. So anyway, we're going to talk more about school. And
Yes, that's part of our conversation
That's
this
going to be
evening.
the majority of our conversation today. But before we kind of jump into that, and we want to invite anybody who's listening to post any questions they have about the school year or their fondest memory about school.
yeah.
We'd love to share some of those,
Favorite
or even a
teachers.
teacher and how that
Yes.
teacher maybe
I would
really
love to
impacted
hear.
you. That would be a special little love note to teachers going into the school year this year.
Right.
Before we do that, though, we're just going to touch base around August's Read It Now, Talk Later book, which is
A book club. We want to make this a book
Yeah.
club. So we're asking everyone that chooses in to read with us to consider this a book club. Not only read now, talk later, but let's really put it in terms of a book club. And we'll talk more about that later. But we would love to have this not only a live book club, but a virtual with our friends and family and all of you out there that have listened to it. So go ahead, Kim Michelle.
Yeah, and you can even let us know what that might look like for you. Like if you're reading the book, most of you have probably done some kind of a book club. What's happening in that book club that you would like to see happen here? Do you get some questions throughout the process of reading the book? Would you like us to present some questions to you on our Facebook page that go along with the book that you can be pondering or answering even in the Facebook page as we go throughout the book? What would serve you? That's really what the question is. What would
Absolutely.
make this a better experience for you? I can't imagine that just reading the book could get any better than just reading the book.
Right.
But if it's possible, well, then we'd like to create that opportunity for you.
Right.
So, The Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett is the name of the book, and it's got this cute cover on it.
Yes.
A really delightful little cover on it. If you haven't had a chance to purchase it yet, it's delightful if you're listening to it. It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a really great listen to kind of book, but it's also, you'll hear the voices when you read it. When you read it, you'll hear those voices as if you were listening to it. So either way or both ways that you choose to enjoy it, I think you will very much enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to share about the book? What kind of person do you think would enjoy reading this book?
Well, you know what? Because this book has, it's kind of a simple storyline, but there's so much characterization within all these characters. So I think people that like to get to know the characters of a book that they read, I think that they would really enjoy this book for that reason. I also think that anyone who's pondering our questions or individual questions, you know, do you think about this is what I think about. So I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but what am I doing in my life? What are the choices that I make around my living? And for example, well, just a funny little thing. I had my first appointment with the Utah retirement system this morning because I'm rolling in close to 30 years. Not that I'm retiring, not that any of that's happening, but I wanted to be in preparation for that, right? So what are the choices that I'm making now that are going to serve me in continuing my life after teaching?
Yeah.
What are things that I'm doing now, not just to support myself, but with my people, with my friends, with my family? How am I interacting? Am I making choices that are going to help me or benefit my loved ones around me? It's, her journey. I think that that's one of a group of people that might be interested. What are things that you yourself are doing right now? I also think anyone that's experienced loss can really connect to this. Maybe your loss isn't the same thing that Eudora experiences. She experiences a lot of different types of loss, so there might be something in there that you can connect to. How about love? Anyone that loves anyone. I think we could connect to Eudora as well. And one thing that in an offset sort of a way, how about living during a war? And Eudora was a young girl during World War II. I was actually born while my dad was in the jungle of Vietnam. So while, I don't have cognitive memory of any of that, the stories from my parents of what happened, he was shot. He also had hepatitis and, so he had experiences there. So I think in terms of what my mom might have experienced during her time while my dad was gone, and getting a viewpoint of how Eudora, what her experiences were during World War II in England. So I think there's a whole list. That's just a few off the top of my head, but there's a whole list of people that would connect to the story. And really, anyone that has loved and anyone that has lost.
Yeah. I loved this book just because I don't necessarily, I usually like mysteries and thrillers and, when I'm not reading for school and those types of things, that's what I would normally pick for enjoyment. And this, I found myself smiling through this book. Yes. Right? There's just a sweetness and tenderness to this book that I so loved. And I think that the ability for for Eudora to even surprise herself, I think that's always nice when we can kind of surprise ourselves. I think there's a wonder in that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Because really that happens so much in this book, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
She has these inner thoughts that she's like, this is what I want to say. But then she says something else and it takes her in a whole different trajectory.
Direction.
Love it.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Encouraging you guys to pick up this book. I loved listening to it. And one of the reasons I loved listening to it was because the author, or the narrator, I should say, the narrator had a British accent.
Yeah.
Because it is set in England. And I love me some British accent.
And I'm just going to say there's a little character in this book who is just completely delightful and makes me so glad that I teach high school.
Yes. AKA elementary versus high school. Thank you, elementary teachers. Amy Budge, I'm sending a shout out to you.
Totally.
Yes.
Because I love this little character, and I don't know how I would handle her, but man, is she a delight?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, totally a delight.
Yep. So again, it's Eudora Honeysett.
The Brilliant
Life. I paused. Did you catch that pause? The Brilliant Life of Eudora Honeysett. So pick up your copy. One thing, it is not on paperback yet. It comes out in October. So if Kindle or Audible seem to be the most inexpensive version, but I did listen to it, and I did, I actually listened to it twice.
Yeah.
I didn't have a book. I listened to it twice. So anyway.
Yeah.
Just a little
So
note
enjoy.
to self. Yeah.
And like I said, put your little comments in if you would like us to engage you in some other way as we get ready to the end of the month when we'll be talking about the book in full in some way, then let us know. Plus, we're going to encourage you to start reading it now, because our guest speaker that's coming in a couple of weeks is going to be dealing with a theme that relates in some way to the book. And I think that we'll be able to draw some parallels to that. It doesn't mean that you can totally appreciate what the speaker is going to be talking about and is going to be presenting with us and working with us on in that call. But I think that there's some definite parallels and some definite kismet
Yes.
with Eudora
Yes.
from the book.
I love that
So I
word.
think that's going to be fabulous.
Kismet.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Well, there you go.
Thank
That's
you,
because I'm
Cam.
old. I have that old vocabulary.
Love it. Okay, so there's that. So, Kim Michelle.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, Mrs. Pullen.
Yeah.
You are rolling right back into the classroom.
back into it. Yeah.
And I can't wait. I've loved hearing about all the things you're planning and seeing all of the things you're doing in your classroom. How are you feeling?
I am, wow, I'm so excited, right? And I'm also just like a nervous wreck because it has been so long, 16, 17 years since I've been in the classroom in that form.
Capacity.
Yeah,
Correct.
in that setup.
I was just going to say, you have been in the last year and a half, or decade and a half career.
Yeah.
You were a teacher there as well. You've always been a teacher to me. And really, you're just going to step in and you're going to just roll.
I'm so excited. And I told Jill this a few days ago because I was working on getting things set up, and there's a lot of things that has changed, technology especially, which is like totally my strength.
We're so intuitive with technology, aren't we? That's why we have Sean, because we're that intuitive.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
See, I would have been like, where did that thumb come from?
It was a trick. It was a trick. How do you
Yeah.
make that trick happen?
And so I'm working on that, and I'm really excited about the curriculum development and going over all of that. And then I did something that totally did not serve me. I'm feeling pretty good.
Good girl.
And
Yes.
then I got on Pinterest, and I'm looking at what all of these teachers are putting on Pinterest that their classrooms look like, and they're doing 6 and 7 stations, and start here in this station, and then have your students move to this station, and then this station, and this station, and this station, and I'm pinning all of this stuff on Pinterest.
And what did I tell you, Kim Michelle?
What did you tell me?
I said, get the hell off of Pinterest. Yep.
And I'm telling you, she was absolutely right, because I was psyching myself right out of my own classroom. I was...
There's nothing worse to a teacher's mind
Oh my gosh.
than looking at Pinterest. You doubt your entire identity,
All of
and
it.
your entire self, and your entire worth.
All of it. Pretty soon there were things on there that were like, they're telling you how to do this activity with your students, how to do this with your students. Just order this. I have this for sale to you. Just order this. Pretty soon you're ordering stuff that says, learn how to spell your name in 5 easy steps, right? And you're like, oh yeah, I should get that. I should really get that. So, since I made my commitment in my 12-step program to step away from Pinterest as it relates to my classroom, I have to tell you, I'm so much healthier.
Yes. The first step is always acknowledging that there is a problem.
There was a problem.
So congratulations.
Yeah, there was a problem. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. And you never know, right, how some of the things will play out. Some things will play out better than others. Of
course.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Every one of them, everything we do in there is going to come from a place of, it's going to be awesome.
Right. The
I
best
believe
intent.
it's going to be amazing. I
Yes.
believe it's going to serve the
Yes.
student. We might evaluate it after and go, oh, well, that didn't quite look the way I thought it was going to look.
That's what
So,
good teaching
yeah.
is.
And then you'll look at it and say, okay, so is that just because it would be better A, B, and C next time? Or is it because it really just doesn't fit?
Right. Or did they connect? Did they not? How
Right.
can I help them better connect? How relevant was this to their learning?
Right.
Did they learn? Did I present it correctly?
Right.
These
Or it's not me,
are-
it's the student.
Right.
Oh, wait, no, it's never that. It's never
Wait,
that.
No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. We can't control their choices, right? We can only control what we share and give.
Sure.
We can't control their choices. And you're a veteran teacher. Like, you taught for 17 years before.
Right, yeah.
So you're going to get back in the saddle. It's going to be just like you never left, except for you're going to be feeling like you're in a spaceship with all of the technology flying around.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Good teaching is good teaching. If you are in there with an intent, and you are in there with the best interest of the student, and you are in there with your heart, then it's going to be what it's going to be, which most generally several someone's in that classroom is going to connect to it.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
That is absolutely how it's going to roll for you.
One of the things, too, that I'm really excited about is that for a number of years, the work that I was in, it was stop teaching, stop being a teacher, stop being a teacher.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, I can't stop that because it's who I be.
Yes.
It is. I
is
can't be me because that is me
Yes.
in my truest space.
Right.
That is me in my beingness.
Yep.
And now I don't have to pretend that's not me. That is me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those kids, I teach seniors and juniors too.
Yeah.
I know that you are going to affect great change for kids. It's true. And that's not just because I love you, but that's the reality. Because, all those years ago, 20 years ago, when you and I shared a classroom,
Yep.
I looked to you as my mentor and my guidance. And you taught me so many things that I still use in my classroom. So this is just like the full circle.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that you're back. Those kids are so
Aw.
lucky, and the school you're going to is fortunate.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I can't wait, except for that I can, because I don't want school to start.
Well,
Let's just be honest. I myself have quite a bit of PTSD from last year.
yeah.
I'm starting my 24th year, and last year, for not only me, but for, I would say 98% of my colleagues, it was a hard
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
It was a hard year. It was a hard year for everybody. Let's just be honest. The COVID and the Rona and whatever we're referring to,
yeah.
whatever name we're using to refer to it, was hard. It affected relationships with students, connection with students. It affected how we were able to teach. And we certainly learned that while online teaching has its place, it's not for everyone, which means it's really not for the 83% of students. We have the bell curve, and we know that within the bell curve, everything is around, it's either 83 or 86% is the norm, right? And then we have the outliers on the right and the outliers on the left. And those kiddos in the middle of the bell curve, online teaching is not for them. And it was exhausting. It was exhausting. And I'm not, I never have stress or anxiety around going back to school. I'll say, I don't want to get up in the morning.
I know.
But truth be known,
But you love the classroom.
but I
too.
do.
Yeah, you
Truth
do.
be known, I am ready for my boys to be gonzo back to school, and I'm ready to be back in my classroom with my kiddos, because that's where, let's be honest, you can't be a teacher for 23 years and not like what you're doing. You would be insane, because you would hate it.
Yeah.
And that's not good for anybody. But I've been having PTSD for sure. And the teacher nightmares, and all of our friends out there who are teachers, they know exactly what I'm talking about when I say teacher dreams. My teacher dreams never ended at the end of the school year. They were teacher nightmares, teacher dreams all summer long, around kind of anxiety-ridden things how am I going to get this done? How are we going to figure this out? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know, because that was part of the situation for us last year, right? We went the year before, fourth quarter, everybody was home. We had 2 seconds to figure out how to do what we were doing.
Right.
We figured it out. It wasn't the best. It certainly was better than nothing, but it was a struggle. That part wasn't even so much the biggest struggle as it was, well, that was big. That was big. But coming back to school and navigating this new terrain of not being able to connect because we had masks, not being able to teach in a way that were interactive.
Yeah.
As much as we were before,
Right.
everybody's
Yeah.
at my desks were spread out. And that's the thing that, for my classroom, I've never, until last year was the first year that I've ever taught with desks in a classroom. I've always had my kids at tables so that they could work together in my whole career. That was huge because I didn't know how to create an environment where each individual kiddo spread 5 feet apart at a desk from the other 5 feet. How do you create a community?
Yeah. And a sense of cooperation.
Exactly. And collaborative learning.
Right.
And all those kinds of things. And I do have one colleague who it was her best year ever. And I applaud her. And I think that she is freaking amazing. It was not my best year ever.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything in my power to make it a year that the kids would learn. But for me, I went home a melted mess.
Yeah.
All 180 days. So I was super grateful when school ended for the year.
Do you feel like you've been able to fill back up in order to prepare yourself to step back into what is still somewhat of an unknown? I mean, we know that we've
got the Delta crazy going on.
And we know that as of right now, we won't be masked and we won't be requiring vaccinations and we won't be 6 feet apart.
Right.
And we know that could
change on a dime.
Right.
Yeah.
So
because we left for spring break and we never came back.
Yeah.
So that's how on a dime things change.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I won't know the answer to that. Yeah, I won't know the answer to that until a week from tomorrow when my kids are in my class. I mean, of course, I'll put my dog and pony show on, meaning I'll be there for my kids and I will be the best teacher that I always am. I work really hard at doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing people see at school. So will I be exhausted at the end of the day, mentally exhausted when I get home? I hope I won't be as exhausted as I was last year.
But I'm asking you as my friend. So I'm not asking you as everybody else who will see you as another teacher in the room. I'm just asking you as my friend, is there something that would serve you to be supported around now in preparation for stepping in next week in case it looks crazy or in case it...
Yeah, here's the problem. The problem for me, and this is something that I get to work on all of the time, is change and being okay with change.
Mm-hmm.
And while last year was novel because it was new,
right,
and everything was a new experience, this year, what would be most beneficial to me, which is what would be most beneficial to everyone, knowing what's going to happen. And that's not an option. That's not a possibility. So, you put your big girl pants on and you get a good night's sleep and you go into it with the best attitude and with flexibility, which is huge. And that, I mean, you need to have flexibility in education anyway, because the best laid lesson plans can turn on a dime in like 3 seconds. So you have to be flexible. And that I'm really good at being flexible. I have always been really good at being flexible in my classroom. And so being able to not carry all of that, the unknown, is going to be huge for me.
So what is your outlet for not carrying all of that?
Well, my friends, my spouse, my amazing spouse, my dogs. Oh, my dogs. I said
know.
dog.
Maybe you could get Sebastian certified as an emotional support dog.
You guys, I got a new dog today.
Yeah,
we got a new dog today. I'm so excited. We adopted a new dog. That got us off on a sidetrack from the school thing, but
no, because it's your emotional support dog. It's going to be my school,
right? But Jazzy could be my emotional support dog too. So for the friends out there that don't know, I am an animal lover, and we had 3 Chihuahuas for, I want to say 12 years.
Like old
Chihuahuas. They grew old together, and
scruffy whiskers,
beards, and
stuff like
warts,
that.
and going blind and going deaf. And Shep, about a year and a half ago, died at age 16. And then Sarah, age 15, died last September. And so we have Jazzy left, and we think she's like 14 because we rescued her. They weren't sure on her exact age. So Jazzy's been alone since September. And my heart was doing some healing around the loss of our other dogs. And Jazzy needs a friend, especially since school's starting. And so we adopted Sebastian today. Thank you, St. George Animal Shelter. I want to just give a shout out to them. And so how did we get off on Sebastian? He's going to be my emotional
support dog.
Right. He's a 10-pound Chihuahua who should be 8 pounds. So he's a chubba little. And he could be my emotional support dog.
Absolutely. I'm sure we can petition for that.
Yeah.
That can be done.
Anyway, long story short, what do I need to get around it? Well, I hate to say that it just needs to start. We just need to get going. That's one thing. The unknown has always been my struggle, or something that I've had to work with. And I can't do anything about not being able to read the future because the dry cleaner lost my crystal ball. So
that's rude. That's totally just rude.
Right. Yeah. So it's just going with the flow.
Yeah.
And I'll have I always have my best face on, because that's what my kids deserve, and that's what I do, and that's what I believe in. And so there's going to be that. One of the things you had texted Patty earlier to see if there's anything she wanted us to mention around her for the start of the school year, and she said that she is just grateful to be in school in person. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely one of the things that I am grateful for too, is to at the very least, be in the classroom with the kiddos. Because we experienced that quarter where we were behind a screen and we just watched our kids kind of drop off.
Yeah.
So, and that, so anyway, long story short, if I even gave a straight enough answer, I was kind of like all over the place with that.
Well, that's okay. I give that answer. Am I supposed to grade that answer?
Yes, because you're in practice of grading now.
I'm just going to make some general comments here, and then I'm going to pass it back to you and let you rework it.
Please,
and
how about
pass
the
it
editing?
back in again.
Don't forget the editing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we do. That's what I do. Yep.
So we wanted to also just give a couple of little things. If you're parents out there and you're sending your kids back to school, if you are professionals in the industry, anything like that, or you have nieces and nephews that are heading back into the classroom, maybe a couple of things to keep in mind as you go into the classroom that might set your kids and whatever students you have in your life, nieces, nephews, neighbors, friends, whatever those might be, that
emotional
might be going back. Emotional support dogs that might be going back into the classroom. And Jill had posted something on her, was it your personal Facebook?
It was on my personal Facebook, yes.
And we're going to go ahead and post it. After this, we'll post it on our Facebook page for A Great Day to Talk. And we'll post a picture of my classroom that Scott's been taking these pictures as we're getting my classroom ready.
Yep. And
every time he takes of
Sebastian.
And every time he takes a picture of me, I'm not a huge fan of having my picture taken. So he'll always be saying like, Kim Michelle, and I'll look at him like, what? And then he'll take my picture, right? And so all of them look like,
Well, it's also 120 degrees
I know,
in the classroom.
it was so hot. But anyway, I'll have him post the most recent picture. We're not ready yet, but we're getting closer, of my classroom and just everything that's going on as we get ready for school.
Yes, and I'm gonna and the blowing up of the exercise balls for my classroom.
Yes, we'll post that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our friend Joy, who was our first guest on our podcast, Joy Welsh, Dr. Joy Welsh, she had posted this, so I stole it from her because I'm really good at stealing.
Yeah, we're really good.
Absolutely.
But Jill's probably the best. But still, we're all pretty good at it.
You really don't know my criminal record, so we won't talk about that. But the stealing.
Yeah.
So this one from Joy, it says, schools will announce fall plans soon. I imagine everyone will be unhappy. Remember, you help to determine your child's attitude. Be angry or sad in private. Discuss your frustrations away from the kids. Set them up for success by teaching them to make the best of it. Be a sounding board for their worries and disappointments. Stay positive and model perseverance.
Yeah. I just thought this was so powerful, especially in this time of uncertainty, and what is the classroom going to look like, and are there ultimately where there'll be masks, won't there be masks, is there going to be distancing, all of that kind of stuff, because even when we sit where we sit right now, and some decisions have been made, who knows what that's going to look like 2 weeks down the road or 3 weeks down the road, or even tomorrow. We don't know what that is going to look like. And I just think this is such powerful, it shows such a level of emotional intelligence as a parent to be able to say, I don't agree with what's going on right now at my child's school.
Right.
And I am choosing not to have this conversation in front of my child, because I still want my child to be able to go into that school anticipating that they're going to have the very best experience in their school that they could possibly have. And I don't need to pollute that water.
Right.
I don't need to muddy the waters there by my own uncertainty and my own fear. And when my child can't do anything about that, my child cannot fix that. So I think those are important conversations to have. And I think parents should be having those conversations with the appropriate people who can help resolve those conversations, and those issues, which is not your child.
Amen.
So one of the things that we're encouraging you to have is to have those difficult kinds of conversations, to stand in your place about what it is that you would advocate and believe, but to do it in a place that keeps your child safe so that they don't have to carry that burden into their classroom, and they can just have the joy of the experience that they're meant to have in the classroom.
That's preach, Kim Michelle. Preach. Amen and preach and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of the experience. That was a lot of the experience. We had a lot of outside forces that really affected within the classroom, and a lot of outside forces included parents. So I appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons why that quote stood out to me so much. I really need to cross stitch that and put it on my pillow that I sleep on at night.
That's a lot of cross stitching.
It is, and I don't have time.
You might just want to write it with a marker.
I'm in a full day meeting tomorrow, so that's absolutely going to have to be what I do. I just looked at the comments, and I see that Alana Palm mentioned this, and it really It really has hit me, Alana. Thank you. So many unknowns here in Canada, too, with the school board. I learned a lot about surrender last year, and I believe I will learn more this year. And I'm just going to have to say, I feel that. I feel your comment.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. That's, I think, what it's going to be. But isn't that what life is? It's a journey.
It absolutely is a journey. And, you know, when we talk about surrender, we're talking about an appreciation and an understanding that I can do what it is that I can do.
And nothing else.
Yes. And then I surrender to a power greater than me. And that I get to believe that in that space, all is good. That power that is greater than me is working for my greater good, and that I can trust in that space, even though I might be shaking like a leaf.
Right. That, you know what? One of the quotes from our book just hit me from Albert, from Eudora's dad. All is well. All is well. All will be well. Amen.
Yeah.
All right. What's your gentle nudge, KM?
My gentle nudge is to really embrace the new beginning. I know fall is really, spring is the season of new beginnings, but so is fall. And so I'm going to jump into the new beginning of fall and really see it as an opportunity for new growth and new beginnings. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. It certainly is not going to look like maybe it did last year. Even if everything ended up being like it was, we're at choice that whether it looks the same or feels the same as it did. And I know it won't for me because I wasn't there. So it certainly won't be the same for me. And it certainly won't be the same for the students that are in my room. And I'm really excited about that. And so my gentle nudge would be for you to find something that is new for you. It doesn't have to be something you've never done before, but maybe it's something you've done, but you're going to do it differently than how you've done it before. And I'm going to encourage you to jump into that thing like when you rake up a whole great big pile of autumn leaves and then a 3-year-old runs through those or piles on top of them. That's how I'm going to encourage you to do it this week.
There you go.
Yep.
My gentle nudge is that schools will announce fall plans soon. I imagine everyone will be unhappy. Remember, you help determine your child's attitude. Be angry or sad in private. Discuss your frustrations away from the kids. Set them up for success by teaching them to make the best of it. Be a sounding board for their worries and disappointments. Stay positive and model perseverance. That's my gentle nudge from the inside of the classroom.
Yep.
Are we going to do the Blue Bowl ever again?
We certainly are.
Okay, let's do it right now. Okay, Blue Bowl.
Blue Bowl.
What surprised you, or what are you most looking forward to? I'm most looking forward to getting to know Sebastian.
Yeah.
Teeny tiny poutini.
Yeah. And mine is what made me smile. And there were a lot of things. This book makes me smile. There's no doubt about that. But one of the things that made me smile is that Scott and I went out and went fishing for the first time in a very, very long time. And Scott caught a ginormous fish.
Which
made me smile.
And it was ginormous.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that really made me smile is I'm in my classroom and Scott is putting all of this stuff up everywhere. I mean, just everywhere for me. And he's got it up. And then I would say, oh, I think I need that like an inch and a half more to the right. And bless his heart, it was just like, okay. And down he would come and move it an inch and a half and go back up and put it up. And that puts a big smile on my face. So thank you, honey. Appreciate it.
Okay, friends, we're so happy you joined us today. Thank you for sitting in and listening to this rant and rave, and we can't wait to visit with you next week. Happy weekend, and to all our teacher friends out there, peace and love, friends. We got this.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to It's a Great Day to Talk. Be sure to follow and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform.
And until next week,
get out there and talk.
This has been a production from a podcast studio.